cashing in. That, of course, was the 21st century scenario to which the world had grown accustomed in tech entrepreneurs like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and others. But it wasn't the case. The lithium-ion battery was not the product of a single mind, nor did it yield instant riches. The unromantic truth was that it was a quarter-century effort that took place in dozens of labs around the world, and it relied on the most old-fashioned of pre-internet networking techniques, papers in scientific journals, and technical presentations on overhead projectors in hotel conference rooms. The result was a collection of independent micro-innovations that migrated from one chemist to another, from one conference to another, to labs on 4 different continents, thousands of miles apart. It was, in essence, an idea in the air, and it spread like a virus through the scientific community starting in the 1970s. In the beginning, there were a few dozen scientists, then a few hundred, a few thousand, and then tens of thousands. The battery's component parts were invented at different times by different people in different places. Some of the inventions fell into a category that science historians call multiples, that is, identical ideas occurring simultaneously in different parts of the world. The graphite anode was such a case. Scientists in France, Germany, Japan, and the United States made very similar discoveries in a period of 2 years. Similarly, the nickel-manganese-cobalt cathode involved 4 independent breakthroughs in different locales around the world, all in a single year. There was, of course, historical precedent for such parallel phenomena. As author Malcolm Gladwell has notably pointed out, there are many such multiples throughout the course of scientific history. Leibniz and Newton invented calculus independently and simultaneously in different countries. Alexander Graham Bell and Elisha Gray independently filed for patents for the telephone on the same day. And there were many others. Like calculus and the telephone, the lithium-ion battery was a product of the intellectual climate of the day. The simplified story behind lithium-ion is that it had been an archetype of the linear development process, that it was born of fundamental research, then moved to applied research, and finally graduated to engineering. In truth, though, it was far more chaotic than that. The impetus for what would later become the lithium-ion battery had actually come from Detroit, from a small band of scientists at Ford Motor Company studying what they called fast ion transport. It had then zigzagged back and forth from applied to fundamental research, from California to New Jersey to England to France, before moving on to engineering in Japan. There was nothing linear about it. In the beginning, few had given the technology much of a chance. John Goodenough, inventor of the first 2 lithium-ion cathodes, had been ignored when he'd tried to market his idea. His own university refused to pay for patenting, so his discovery languished for years. If not for the Japanese, the battery probably would have remained little more than a technical curiosity for at least another decade, and maybe longer. But Japanese engineers recognized it as a power source for camcorders and laptop computers, and so they marshaled their efforts and brought it to market. Their role, often underappreciated in the US and Europe, was absolutely essential. Even then, their path to success was anything but smooth. For many years, there would be a revisionist version of the battery's journey to market in Japan, but this version was woefully short on detail. In reality, the journey started with a company that didn't fully comprehend the value of its own invention. Nor did that company know how to manufacture it. So 2 of its engineers took their chemistry experiment to a converted truck garage in Boston, Massachusetts, where the first 200 pre-production cells were built. Only then did the concept gain momentum, thanks to a competitor in Japan who brought more knowledge and infinitely more resolve. It finally reached the market in 1991, 25 years after the Ford Motor Company had built the first fast ion transport.